back. So, today, day 29, legs and core. So, we're going to go ahead and start getting our warm-up done, which is hack squats. Then we go into glute kickbacks and calf raises. All that stuff gets everything kind of limbered up and ready to go. Then we're going to hop into our squats and really get the load pushed up there. Today we're going to shoot for 225. See if we can comfortably squat 2 plates again. That'll be a really big achievement that basically we've been working towards for like a year, because we used to have a bunch of back pain and like hip issues and everything else every time we squatted, and it would just hurt and everything would be super sore for like days. Even just squatting like 135 pounds, my back would be miserable. But we took everything back down to like basically just the bar last year and just slowly started working up. We got to like 225 for 2 before we ended up leaving to go to Georgia for a bit. And now that we've been back, we've slowly been working back up to 225 again over the last 30 days. And now we're here. I think we're ready to give it a shot today. We haven't had any pains or issues doing anything. So, ready to get into this. Let's get it knocked out. 3 sets, 8 reps each for hack squats, just kind of warming up. And so these warm-up sets, I think these are going to have to start kind of getting a little heavier too initially. So I think we're going to go maybe 70 pounds, and then we're going to start going to 90 and just kind of ramping these up. I don't know if I'm going to do it today. You know what? Screw it. Why not? I'm going to grab 2 more 10s, throw them on here. We'll go for 90 pounds on the second set. Because the 70 just feels a little extra light today. We do want to have enough load here to stimulate the muscle, get the blood going into it, but not be so heavy that we're going to fatigue ourselves before we get into squats. That there still actually feels pretty light, but we'll stay with that for today. And I think our next leg day will actually end up ramping this up. So, depending upon if we feel that it affects our squats or not, since that's the exercise we're going to be looking forward to push a lot of load with. Alright, I'll get set up to do glute kickbacks now, then I'll bring you guys back. We've got 20 pounds on the stacks. This is the weight we've been working at for 3 sets, 20 reps. Just a nice large amount of volume to get a lot of blood pushed into the glutes and the hip flexors. And for me, I've actually noticed quite a bit more of hip mobility. And even walking wise, I walk with a lot straighter stance in stride now than I was. So on top of, I'm actually now starting to finally get a, like, not quite a shelf yet, but it's not as flat upper glute, like my back to butt just is not flat. It's finally starting to get some sort of ramp, is the way we'll put it currently. So if you're trying to build mobility and just a larger, rounder butt, and what's crazy is even just at 20 pounds, the contraction is still tight enough to where I'm struggling for that full range of motion at 20 reps. And the pump comes in extremely fast for these. So it's definitely telling me that they are very underdeveloped compared to everything else, like my hamstrings, my spinal erectors. My glute maximus, which is the lower part, obviously much more developed than my glute minor and my hip flexors. So it is nice to actually be able to feel it targeting something that I've neglected for a very long time. So adding these in definitely was not a bad idea. Woo! The burn and the bum. But I've actually started to really enjoy doing these. Like, I don't know why, but I think it's just such a simple movement, and now I'm actually starting to notice a difference in it that it makes me kind of happy to do them. At first, I kind of felt like they were stupid and a waste of time. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of feel about certain movements and stuff, is they don't give it long enough to start seeing the benefits from it, or they half-ass it too much, and so they never see the benefits of it if they do it for a long enough period of time. So because of that, they kind of like falsify the results almost. So with that, right leg's done. Now we just got to switch right on over, right on into that left leg. And what's kind of funny too, is I've noticed the stability difference from side to side while doing these. And it's starting to finally get a little bit better. So, I will definitely say doing these 3 movements, so the hack squat, the kickbacks, and then going into calf raises before squatting, feels like it's actually made my squatting better. On top of, I feel like it's helped me put a little more effort into my glutes and my hamstring and my calves, because I'm doing them before the big heavy lift. Because anything after that, like sure you're still working and you're putting effort into it, but you've already taxed your body a bunch. So woo. But leg days have definitely been one of the days I kind of have always dreaded the most. Even though I can make progress in it, get development out of it, like I've just never enjoyed it. But I don't know, still lacking a little motivation today like I was yesterday, but I actually have a sense of want to do legs today. And I think it's just because I'm actually making good progress with it and it's not feeling detrimental to anything else. Woo! Movement number 3, good old calf raises. Make sure you guys are doing some sort of calf movement in your leg days. Do not skip them. They are very good. Ankle stability, ankle strength, stabilization, balance. All of it comes from the ankle, and the calves are a big part of all of that. You obviously also have your shin muscles that are involved too. Should be training those. That'll make this little muscle up here in the front, when you train this pulling up, it's going to make your calves just look much wider. From the front and from the sides, they're going to look a lot deeper. Now, as for actual calf work, standing, if you're only doing one movement, choose something standing. Because the only way to really work the gastroc, which is the bigger head of your calves, is it passes through the ankle and the knee joint. So if your knee is bent, it's not stretched out completely in that position. So the only time it's going to be completely stretched and get that full range of motion is when you're standing. Now the other head attaches just below the knee, so it doesn't matter if you're seated or standing, it's going to contract the same way. So let's go ahead and get into these. I got 155 on the bar, 3 sets, 20 reps. got a little wild there on that last one. Alright, I've got 95 pounds on the bar for our first set of 5 here. So today it's going to go 95, 135, 175, 225, I believe. I know 225 is the top set. Yeah. So that's the order we're going to go ahead and hit these in and see where we fall. I'll be real excited to hit a full set of 5 at 225. We were able to do 215 last leg day. They're pretty taxing, but I think we've got this. Dang-o, y'all. That was a brutal set for me right there. I tell you what, that was rough. So the weight was okay. My stance felt pretty good for like my foot placement. The bar felt good in my traps and up on the shoulders, but boy, oh boy, was it actually hard to press or push or however you want to put it. Squatting that took a lot. And truthfully, muscular-wise, it still didn't feel, per se, that aggressively taxed to, to push the weight. But the mental thought of pushing it for some reason is just so much. Like, squatting 225, for me, is easily twice as hard as, say, deadlifting 225. Squatting 225 for the equivalent effort in deadlift, to me, really feels like I'm pulling 405 in the deadlift. Like, it's got that same type of load and feel on the body. And I just don't know why. Like, I don't know if it's a technique issue or I have a super bad imbalance that just causes it to just be incredibly difficult. And I tell you what, the first one shocked me with how hard it felt. And then the third one, I could feel like it was weird. It felt like muscle fatigue, even though the muscles weren't feeling that exhausted yet. But it's probably like oxygen deprivation or like the increase of blood pressure or whatever. Or just not breathing. I guess that could be it too. But the fourth rep, insanely hard, and mentally my body was telling me to rack it. Just rack the weight, you're done, you can't hit the fifth, you're done. Like, fire alarms going off, World War III is happening, like, stop what you're doing. And then I just kind of sat there, took 2-3 breaths, thought about it, felt the way the weight felt on my back, and that I didn't have to shake to press the fourth one up. And I just forced myself to do that fifth rep. I was like, mentally, I was like, I have to be able to press this. We just did 215 for 5. There's no way we can't do 225. Like, that 10 pounds can't make that big a difference at 5 reps. So, went ahead, dropped down, went into the hole, and just dug deep and pressed that out. And I think that kind of is what makes a lot of big difference in progress. Is a lot of people will stop when they first start to get that alarm in the body of, hey, we're done and we're tired, you can't do this. And you got to be able to pause and reflect and actually evaluate that moment before you rack that weight or you give up on pushing it. Like, was the rep before it that hard? Should this be this hard? And I think in reality, a lot of people fail their sets, fail hitting their goals, fail making progress because of that mental strain that it takes. Of once you start to do something that's hard and you're starting to push your limits, or at least your current limits, and the body is always going to choose equilibrium. It's not going to want to do things that are harder. You're not going to want to diet because it's hard. You're not going to want to take that extra rep. It's hard. And so then you just take the easier path and you're complacent, and it curbs progress. So, with that though, we made some progress on the hack squats today. Those will go up next leg day. Squats, we made progress again, another 10 pounds for 225. We are going to stay right here until I become a little more accustomed to 225, because I can tell there's a little instability in the hips and lower back while squatting, so we're going to stay right here and let everything else kind of catch up. Meanwhile, everything else will make some progress in. Next leg day, we'll bring back hip thrusts, start getting those going, getting more drive into the glutes and the hamstrings. But we crushed it today. We overcame that hurdle of being able to squat 225 again for 5 reps. We haven't done that in a very long time with what seems to be no pain. So that's the big part to it. So with that, guys, I'm going to lead off here, go get my evening walk done. This is day 5 of getting my walk into the evening, and I don't want to break that. So make sure you're out there working towards your goals, getting your stuff done, and most of all, just don't be a lazy fuck.